Howdy, folks. I'm a hangry hamster hauntingly haranguing a hegemonic hedgehog.
I'm Amber.
And here are more hegemonic hedgehogs to harangue. Hauntingly. Oh, and that one was brought to you today by Amber again. She's really into these tongue twisters now that I've started them in alphabetical order. She's like, oh, I know what Brian's going to do today.
Yeah. Well, he docked me on points for that tongue twister one day.
Oh, Amber is making up for her tongue twister failure.
It was not a failure. It was a very lovely tongue twister. I just didn't come up with it on my own.
I see. All right, folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Pay for My Boyfriend's Food and His Birthday and Getting Him Banned from a Restaurant? Edit, on his birthday, really should have spell checked before posting. I'm an 18-year-old female, and I've been dating my boyfriend, John, a 20-year-old male, for a little under a year. We have a pretty toxic-free relationship, but there's quite a bit of tension when it comes to me being a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since 11, and I have a very strict moral around it. The one thing that John has a problem with is me refusing to spend my money on meat. Ever since I started making my own money, I swore to myself that I would never spend a cent on meat. On our dates, we usually split the bill, and sometimes he pays for all of it. I told him that if he orders something meat-free, then I would happily pay for both of us, but he never does. When he pays for my food, it's when I've spent my money on the activity. Normally concerts and festivals. He's paying 120 euros plus on tickets, and him spending maybe 50 euros on food. His birthday was a few days ago, and we went out for dinner at his favorite restaurant, and he got the most expensive steak they had along with a side salad and a bottle of wine. When we finished our food, I asked the waiter to split the bill, and John looked at me shocked. He asked if I was joking, and I said no. Then he told me that he thought that I was going to pay since it was his birthday, and he didn't budget for the meal. I asked why he thought that I would pay, since I've been very clear about my rule, but he couldn't give me a reason other than it being his birthday. I told him that I would pay for the wine and the side salad, but he needed to pay for the steak. He was furious with me and stormed off to the bathroom. I paid for my meal, the wine, and the salad, and I waited for him to come back, and he didn't. After waiting for 20 minutes, I left. I found him sitting on a bench near where we had parked the car. I asked him why he had left and reminded him that he needed to pay. He looked shocked when I said that and asked me if I didn't pay. I told him that I paid for everything but the meat, and he lost it. He started yelling at me, telling me that I was selfish and that I needed to grow up. I stayed calm and I told him that he needed to go back and pay. He scoffed and walked away. I ended up driving home without him. He's now saying it's my fault that he can't show his face in his favorite restaurant since he dined and dashed. It's a pretty small restaurant, so he would 100% be recognized and get kicked out. So am I the jerk? Edit. To people commenting about me not treating him on his birthday, yes I did. I even dipped into my savings for his present. Edit 2. I did not take him out for dinner. He was the one that suggested it. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. OP, you have been very clear all along what your expectations are. And what he was doing is manipulative. He was trying to use your desire to not look bad in public to force you into a situation where you have to buy this.
And then on top of that, like hiding?
Yeah, running out of there, so you have like basically trying to stick you with the bill so you have no choice but to pay.
Yeah.
And like I have a feeling that if you had paid up, he would use this as an excuse in the future to get you to compromise your morals. Oh, but you paid for my meat that one time, so now you can pay for it anytime.
You know, the thing about relationships is that people should be working together towards common goals and common interests, and they should be supporting each other. And if you two aren't compatible in that respect, then this relationship isn't going to work. If he's not willing to uphold your boundaries and respect your boundaries, then this relationship is not going to work.
Yeah, it's totally valid to have moral lines that you don't want to cross. There are a lot of problems with animal agriculture. And I also personally, like, I've been a vegetarian since I was 11 as well. And I do have a really hard time ethically with the idea of putting my money toward meat. So, like, I can definitely see where you're coming from in that regard. You need to clearly convey what your expectations are to your partner. Like, if you suggest, oh, hey, let's go out for my birthday, you need to convey that you are expecting them to pay, because usually when someone does the inviting, they're the one who's paying.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like, this was an invitation out to dinner with him, and he chose to not be prepared for that. And he was trying to use this excuse, like Amber was saying, of not having his wallet as a way of coercing you into compromising on your morals.
And honestly, I feel like that's could be a red flag of much larger issues.
Yeah, I really think that this, like what you said, this could be a very slippery slope type of thing, where he gets her to compromise now, and then he gets her to compromise later. And his whole, you need to grow up. Well, OP, I don't think you need to grow up. You're the one who established your boundaries. You're the one who very clearly said what your limits were. He's the one who needs to grow up because he's trying to push you into doing something that you don't want to do.
And if he wants a partner who's going to treat them to meat, he can go look for one, but he shouldn't try forcing you to compromise on your morals.
Exactly. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Vampire says, not the jerk, he knew the rules. Did you also check if the wine was also vegetarian? And OP replies, there's non-vegetarian wine. And Slender Nan says, I hope you're aware that some cheeses are also not vegetarian at all, like they use rennet, an animal product, in their production. And OP replies, yeah, I found out that last year. It was heartbreaking. And actually in the US, 95% of the cheeses that are made are actually made with an artificial rennet. So there's a good chance that if you're a vegetarian, that you're not eating rennet cheese. And so that's an important thing that I really wanted to touch on here. Probably if you're buying low quality cheeses, there's a good chance it's not using animal rennet. So.
Yeah, because it's cheaper a lot of times to use the synthetic stuff. But I do know some alcohols are problematic in that regard. I don't know which ones specifically.
Yeah, what's in alcohol that...
I just remember reading it probably on Reddit, and I don't know all the details.
So, and I just Googled this for us so that we can get this mystery off of our plates from Google, and it's pulling us from Forbes, I guess. However, the winemaking process, specifically the fining process, often adds small amounts of substances that may be troubling to vegetarian and vegan consumers. Many of these ingredients are derived from animal bones, intestines, and other byproducts, making the wine unsuitable for vegetarians and vegans. So I guess there's just some additives in them, so something to keep an eye out for. And Oldie-Wan Kenobi says, this is why vegetarians are insufferable. They expect to be catered to in someone else's house and do not reciprocate when they have people over that aren't vegetarian. If he paid for your meals in the past, I'm sure you can pay for one. You're the jerk. And OP replies, I am well used to not being catered for. I'm well used to not having carrots or having carrot sticks for dinner because the host didn't make anything vegetarian.
Yeah. And again, there's a difference between, so only one person in the situation has to compromise their morals. People who eat meat can eat meat-free dinners, generally speaking, without compromising their morals, whereas vegetarians cannot eat and in some cases prepare meat without compromising their morals, so they're not analogous.
You're the jerk, 100%. Put your personal morals where the sun don't shine. Imagine having a kid who wants a burger on his birthday, and you make him sell 5 grams of lemonade. You're the jerk, you're the jerk, you're the jerk. And OP replies, or the father can pay? I think some people are just very angry at vegetarianism.
Yes, they are.
All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Having My Daughter Take Her Sister's Test? Fix the title. I have 2 daughters in high school. Sam is an A student and Emma is a BC student. Sam has basically been making fun of Emma for her lower grades. We punish her when it happens, but she goes back to it every time. Now, the difference between the two girls is that Sam takes the general classes, whereas Emma takes the college classes. For example, Sam took biology as her science, and Emma took college physics too, so very different. Summer is here, and the final grades came in. Sam got all A's, and when she saw that she did better, she started the "I'm smarter" comments again. I had enough at this point. I grabbed one of Emma's old tests, and it was a geometry test, since Sam took geometry this year, and sat her down and had her do it. Long story short, she was in tears, and then I explained again how grades don't measure how smart you are. That she is in much easier classes compared to Emma. I think it finally got through to her. My wife was informed of what happened before she came home, and she was mad about how I could do that to Sam. She took her to get some ice cream to make up for it while me and Emma are still at home. Edit, for those wondering, we have talked to her multiple times. We have tried to get to the bottom of it. Her answer is that she doesn't think it's a big deal. I took Emma to her favorite restaurant, filled in my wife with what actually happened and not the story that Sam told. We are going to have a big talk later, but she basically said on the text that she messed up. Not to mention, when Sam was calmer, she got a clearer story and realized that she went off the handle without the facts. Oh, okay, well, that's actually really good to hear. So what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, I think this is the exact lesson that Sam needed for it to get through to her. What she was saying was very hurtful to her sister. And I know, of course, the person who's doing the bullying is like, it's not a big deal.
So, yeah, I mean, to play off of that, I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. What OP did was show Sam why what she was saying wasn't right. And she needed to understand that it isn't always about grades. And it's really good that she's getting A's and that she's excelling where she is, but that doesn't always paint the complete picture. And to make fun of her sister, she's basically saying, haha, I'm smarter than you because I'm getting better grades. Which isn't a good reflection. Like, somebody can get low grades and still do really well with that knowledge later. Whereas somebody could get really high grades and they might not be able to perform with that knowledge. And it's really just a matter of mastery, you know?
Yeah, well, grades are very arbitrary. And a lot of schools, or at least my high school I went to, have shifted so that they put more weight on like honors and AP classes because otherwise the students taking those wouldn't be eligible for valedictorian or salutatorian, because they're really tough classes.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to realize that when you're taking really hard classes, it can be hard to get good grades. And people are punished for essentially taking harder classes in the short term. But in the long term, it pays off. So, yeah, I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. I'm really glad that he was able to talk to the wife and they were able to figure out that the story that Sam had told her wasn't necessarily an accurate reflection of reality. I'm really curious about what she actually told the mom. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Useless Ivory says, info, why was your daughter in tears? Did she realize her mistake, but you kept pushing? Did you raise your voice? Was she fake crying and being manipulative? Why did your wife take Sam's word so quickly? There's a lot to gloss over here with your long story short. And OP replies, I left her with the test and was cooking lunch. Gave her an hour to go at it. She was very cocky at the beginning, but by the end of the test, she was in tears. I think that it was frustration and not being able to do the problems. And Healthy Department 80 says, not the jerk. I'm assuming that you made Sam take the test, and explaining that grades do not equate intelligence was done in a calm and constructive manner, and not in an effort to hurt her. Emma is taking harder classes, and it should be acknowledged that excelling in simple classes is not better than being average in advanced courses. I'm confused about your wife's reaction. Does she usually take Sam's side in most situations? And OP replies, my wife sees Sam as the baby, and she got the story from Sam since she called her. So I'm sure Sam made it sound a million times worse. Really couldn't get much in before she was gone. Alright folks, and our last letter on this Sunday morning special is titled, I laced my braid with thumbtacks as a self-defense tactic. I'm a 28-year-old female, and I was 24 at the time, and I worked in this independent kitchen with no HR department as a cook for several years. There was a brief period of time where a coworker was pulling my hair repeatedly after being asked not to. He didn't even stop when my managers told him to F off. So I got permission from my superiors to take things into my own hands. I braided my hair for work one day and wove thumbtacks into it. I was met with a yelp when he tried to pull my hair again and never did it again. This has been on my mind lately because it was a pivotal moment in the way that I allowed people to treat me. And this one was from True Off the Chest, and I just kind of wanted to cover on this one. I think this is an interesting one in the respect that there's like an intersection here between self-defense and, booby trapping and stuff like that. So the one thing that I'd be kind of careful about here with like OP is the booby trapping is kind of illegal in a lot of places.
Yeah, but like, does that apply to your own body? Like, people can wear spiked jackets if they want, and it's not like a big deal. And so, like,
yeah, but spiked jackets are also not sharp.
well, I mean, you could probably put nails on your jacket and like as a fashion statement and get away with that.
Sure. And I mean, I'm not saying that what OP did is right or wrong. And I mean, I'm just going to kind of skirt the ethical issue of what she has to say here.
Well, I don't think what she did. I mean, I have no take on the legal angle. I do not know anything about booby trapping laws, but I totally think that if someone is harassing you, you should be able to booby trap your hair if you need to.
I definitely think that she's allowed to defend herself, and I think self-defense is a fine thing. And I'm just saying that I don't know whether or not what she did here was right or wrong, and I don't think I even want to make that judgment call, right? I think that she was being harassed by an individual, and she took matters into her own hands. This person was told multiple times not to do this, but if I had been the people at this restaurant, then I would have fired the guy.
Yeah, that was my question, is why wasn't he fired for this? What he is doing is clearly like workplace harassment, and like it's a very clear violation. It's even probably criminal because he's like pulling her hair when she doesn't want to and has been repeatedly told not to.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I don't even think that this should have gotten to this point. Like, she shouldn't have had to defend herself against a person who was known to harass her. He should have been fired, really, honestly. And they should have written up a report on his behavior as well. And this might even be considered assault. So again, like, he could be classified as assaulting her, and that would definitely not be a good thing either. So I honestly just feel like OP was put in an untenable position. Her superiors weren't doing anything about this person who was clearly a problem, and they should have taken the measures to protect her against this individual, even if that means putting them onto different schedules so he can't be around her, which I don't think solves the problem. It just moves the problem. But again, like, fire him, hit him where it hurts in his wallet. I understand that maybe he was a great cook or whatever it was, but honestly, me running the restaurant, I don't care. We'll find someone else to replace him.
Yeah, well, they should have. But if it's a small kitchen, he might be a nepotism hire or something, which is its own issue.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of other issues at play here. And I mean, certainly it's good that he didn't repeat the behavior after this. So, but let me know what you folks think.
I think it's clever. I like it.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, oh, she's got another joke that's written down.
I'm trying to decide which one. Okay. What has rice and beans and goes bump in the night?
What has rice and beans and goes bump in the night? Well, I'll tell you what has rice and beans and goes bump in the night. It is a car that is powered off of rice and beans. We did it! We solved the energy problems! Thank goodness! Oh my goodness, Amber, I was worried there for a while, but now we have an endless supply of fuel. We just grow the rice, we grow the beans, we toss it into the car's fuel tank, and we drive.
I don't think that's going to work like you want it to, but the answer is a burrito.
And I have licorice spice. That was a joke written by Amber. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today on this Sunday morning special. I hope it was special for you because it was special for me. And you're special too. And Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and guidance, and please have it involve hegemonic hedgehogs.
If braiding your hair with thumbtacks doesn't work, you can always consider bringing some hegemonic hedgehogs and attached to your shoes or something. I don't know, but they're prickly, right? So
Amber's like, hedgehogs, the new fashion statement. That's what our moral is today. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
bye.